Hello everybody. Center of Disease Control estimates that more than 4 million Americans are living with chronic hepatitis, and many do not know they are infected. Welcome to Hepatitis C Awareness Show. I am your host, Greg Roman, and today we will be discussing hepatitis C, which is called a silent killer in the medical community. So, what is hepatitis C? Some of you may know what it is in details. Some of you may heard something about it, but many of you are still unaware of this disease. Otherwise, it wouldn't have such epidemic proportions in the United States. Having healthy lifestyles and don't have any illness symptoms doesn't mean you are not at risk. Most people infected with hepatitis C virus have no symptoms. In fact, most people don't even know they have hepatitis C infections until liver damage shows up decades later. And many of you cannot even imagine what kind of a dramatic impact it can make in your life. My guests and I intend to inform you about this disease. You will hear real life stories from individuals who are living with or affected by hepatitis C. Today, we have two guests who will tell us their stories.
My name is Donald. I was infected with hepatitis C back in 1975. I believe that was when I was infected. I'm a recovering drug addict, and I used to inject cocaine. And the first time I injected cocaine and shared syringes was in 1975. I didn't realize or know that I had hepatitis C until 1991, when I used to donate plasma, and they called me in one day and said that I couldn't donate anymore because I had hepatitis C. After I was told that, I went to my doctor, who told me that at that time they didn't know that much about hepatitis C. The medication was expensive, so we would monitor it. Because there are very few, if any, symptoms of hepatitis C, my doctor forgot about it, and I did also. So I went, I would believe another 6 or 7 years, not knowing that I had hepatitis C before I did get treated. But in the interim, hepatitis C to me was a blessing, because it caused me to stop using drugs. I had been using for about 15, 16 years. When I was told that I had hepatitis C, I went to detox and haven't used drugs since. And that's been like about 22 years. So when I did find out, when I was told again that I had hepatitis C, because I used to get migraine headaches and had to take a medication, and they had to do blood work to make sure my blood levels were normal, they called me in again, told me, you have hepatitis C. I told them that I know that. So they sent me to a doctor. And this doctor, I do believe, and I will say, that was the best doctor I've ever had. He was very patient. He explained hepatitis C to me. He explained the medications to me. And I had access to him every day of the week if I had any problems. I was treated for the hepatitis C with the regular interferon, the three times a week injection, and the pills, the ribavirin. That treatment didn't work. So when the pegylated interferon came out, the once a week injection and the fewer pills, I took that and it worked. I've been undetectable for hepatitis C for about 9.5, 10 years now. And today I work in New York City here as a hepatitis coordinator at a harm reduction agency in the South Bronx and East Harlem. I do all the hepatitis testing. I had to go to school for phlebotomy. I do the support group. I also do workshops and trainings at national conferences and here in the city and in the state of New York. So today, this is what I do, and it's because I have hepatitis C, and I want to make a difference. And making a difference for me is working with the African American community, and more so the baby boomer generation, the people born from 1945 to 1965. And this is a age group that is really seriously being hit by hepatitis C. So that is my target population.
So basically, you managed to turn negative point in your life to the positive, which no doubt brought you benefits in your future.
Correct, yeah. I did. Like I said, hepatitis C, finding out that I had hepatitis C and knowing that I probably got it from my drug use caused me to go to detox and caused me to stop using drugs, which was a good thing. And I was going to NA meetings and AA meetings, and I found that a lot of people had hepatitis C. So I was working at a HIV agency in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I started a support group there, and I believe that the support group is still going on. And I left Ann Arbor almost 10 years ago.
You have to deal not only with the fact that you have virus, but also with side effects of medications. For that, you need support from family and friends. Did you get that support?
I had a lot of support from my family, my daughters, and I had a lot of support within the recovery community because there were, like I said, a lot of people who had hepatitis C, and they would come to the meeting. As there were some people who were on the treatment, so we were able to talk and support each other.
More than a decade passed since your treatment, and you are well informed on current situation with medication options and overall hepatitis C awareness. So you can make comparison. Do you see any changes?
Well, now the medications are about the same. You give yourself less injections once a week. The side effects are the same, but they're coming out with newer medications that are going to shorten the time that you're on treatment. Then lately, there has been just a little bit more information. The Center for Disease Control says that they would like to have all people born within 1945 and 1965 tested at least one time for hepatitis C. So there's more information about it, but there still needs to be more. Because there are still some doctors who really aren't aware of hepatitis C, and they don't really know what to do. Even, like it was in 1991 when I went to my doctor, and he didn't know that much about it. And there are still doctors who really don't know that much about it. So the medical community needs to get more information about it, because at a lot of the trainings that are being done, you still find a lot of doctors coming to these trainings that are being done by agencies who are specializing in hepatitis C.
Donald, thank you for telling your story. We have one more guest today who will share with us his story. Tony, please.
My name is Anthony Kilburn. My friends call me Tony. My journey started with the hepatitis C virus in actually 2007, but right now I'm currently living with the virus. Um, I was on kidney dialysis in 2007, and I was trying to get on the waiting list for a transplant. Um, the doctors tested me through a liver biopsy, and that's how I found out I had the hepatitis C virus. At first, I was, really, really in shock because I didn't do drugs. I never shared any needles with anybody, but it could have been a possibility as a younger man in Chicago, growing up in Chicago. I suffered from a lot of ulcers, and I had a lot of relapses, and I had a surgery for one of those relapses, and I had blood transfusions. So could have been a possibility I could have got it from there. In 2008, I left the nursing home. I moved into a boarding house. I eventually got on the waiting list in 2008. The doctors tried to help me to clear the virus with the interferon drug, but it didn't work. So they took me off of it. In 2008, they gave me a choice. They said you could move up on the waiting list by taking the kidney with the hepatitis C virus, or you can wait 5 to 9 years. I chose to take the kidney. So in Thanksgiving 2009, I received a kidney from a donor who had the hep C virus. Right now, I'm an advocate for the New York Organ Donor Network. I'm also a volunteer, and I'm also part of a creative writing group for the hepatitis C virus. At first, I wouldn't even tell anybody I had the virus because I didn't want anybody thinking of me in a negative way. Right now, I'm studying to be a medical assistant, and right now my life is good. I go every year to take a blood test, and I do have some liver scarring, and right now the doctors are not, my virus hasn't spread, so I'm I'm glad to be alive. Right now, there's a lot of myths out there about tissue and organ donation. It's saying that people can't give with the hepatitis C virus, but that's not true. As I said before, I received a kidney from a donor that had the Hep C virus, and so far, my virus hasn't spread to any of my other organs or anything like that.
It was a shocking news for you that you have a hepatitis C virus. What was the reactions of your family and friends when you told them about it?
They were very supportive. They were like, we'll take one thing at a time. First, we'll worry about the transplant, then we'll worry about the virus. And they were like, we're okay. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine.
You have a hepatitis virus, and as I understand, you cannot take antiviral medications now because of transplant. How do you deal with that mentally?
Right now, I'm just happy to be alive. At first, I didn't want to deal with it. It was just like, I can't believe I got this. And like I referred before, I never told anyone. I was really secretive about it.
One of the major challenges people facing who diagnosed with hepatitis C is overcoming the stigma attached to this illness. What would be your advice to our viewers who know that they have hepatitis C virus?
My advice would be to get into a support group, especially like the creative writing group that I'm in now, and write about it. Express your feelings. Um, Family and friends really helped me. Me and Mr. Davis here, we're part of the same group, and he helped me to really understand what was going on with me and how I felt about it, and is not to be so secretive. You have to talk about these things. I would also tell them to go get tested. There's nothing scary about it, and that you can still live a great and wonderful life.
It is understandable that being diagnosed with hepatitis C may come as a shock, but you just need to stay positive in your life. Don't hide or bury yourself per se. Mr. Davis, what was your experience in that matter? And what would be your advice?
Well, there are a lot of people who have hepatitis C who don't let people know, and because of varying reasons. And it's like not everyone is, because most people who have hepatitis C are either current or former injecting drug users. But not everyone was an injecting drug user, you know. And there are people who got hepatitis C, like Tony here, from probably a blood transplant. And just be open with it, and be honest with people, and not hide it, and let people know that you have hepatitis C. It affects the liver. You're going to have to take this treatment for a year and not for the rest of your life. And that if they want to support you, they will.
Telling loved ones that you have hepatitis C can be especially upsetting. But you have to do that because family members can be the first people to offer support. How important was role or your family on the time your treatment? How supportive were your friends?
Oh, well, because I've been undetectable for like 10 years now, when I was taking the treatment, everything was fine. My kids were really good with me with the medication. I remember one time I was at a conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I had to take my injection. And some people that I knew from an agency in Chicago, they said, well, we're going to come up to your room and we'll watch a movie and stuff. You take your injection and we'll wait until you go to bed and make sure you're okay. So, you have people who support you, and you have people who support you to no limit.
Okay, you heard stories from our guests, and here's my personal story. For how many years I had been infected by hepatitis C virus before first time a test showed its presence in my blood in 1997? I honestly don't know. That year, I volunteered to donate blood, and a bit later was informed that my blood was screened for hepatitis C, and tests were positive. I was shocked. I had no idea where it came from. I never did drugs. I don't have a tattoo. My lifestyle have always been healthy. The only possibility that I think of might be injection with the reusable needle in the hospital back in Russia. Disposable syringes wasn't available back then. I was very upset about test result, but since I had no symptoms of any illness, I decided to move on with my life, and after some time I just forgot about it. I forgot about hepatitis C, but it didn't forget about my liver, so to speak. After then, more than a decade later, it reminded me about its existence. During the regular checkup, my doctor spotted changes in liver functions and requested further testing for hepatitis C. I'm very thankful to my doctor what she did. When she spotted my liver problem, she didn't know about that positive test in 1997. I did hepatitis C test and result wasn't pleasant. My virus was extremely active. That meant I had to do treatment. I didn't know anything about that treatment, anything at all, but there was no time to delay. So I started antiviral therapy. I couldn't even imagine how hard it possibly could be. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I do.
After a few weeks of treatment, I started feeling side effects. I started losing weight, started losing appetite, started losing everything, including interest in life. I was totally lost at that point in my life. I decided to start looking for help. I called New York City service line 311. They guided me to the New York City Health Department, and Health Department representative suggested as one of the options to join a hepatitis C support group. I was kind of skeptical about the effectiveness of group meetings, but I decided to join a support group in Manhattan, and I'm glad I did. I went to support group meetings during my treatment for more than a year, and it helped me a lot. Talking to people who was going through the same tough times as myself was very helpful. Of course, each of us had different problems caused by hepatitis C and treatment side effects, but in general, everyone had to deal with the similar issues and problems: depression, weakness, insomnia, and mental aspect was probably the hardest part to deal with. Discussions of those issues help us all. Particularly, those meetings helped me to overcome stigma. So I was lucky enough to find help and support at time I was needed it most. I was asking my doctor why we don't have support group in Russian community. And he responded, "Why don't you take an initiative and open one? You have first-hand experience." So I called New York City Health Department with an initiative to open hepatitis support group in Russian community. And with their guidance and help, I began a first Russian support group this year, with the goal to help those Russians whose life is affected by hepatitis. I'm happy to say that from January of this year, Russian support group is up and running. By the way, if any of you want to participate, you are more than welcome. Even though it is Russian support group, we speak two languages. We meet once a month, last Wednesday every month in Kings Highway Library in Brooklyn. Everybody, welcome. And now we came to the fun part of our show. When I was putting this show together, I came up with an idea for a final part of our show and call it signature. As a full name of a person, our signature will consist of three parts: first name, middle name, and last name. For first name, gratitude, what we are thankful for. For the middle name, forgiveness. And for the last name, wish, what we are wish for. I will lead the way. What I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for my doctors. I'm thankful for my friends and my kids who helped me to go through those hard times when I was going through the hard treatment. On forgiveness, I forgive myself for the past mistakes I did in my life especially for doing nothing when I learned that I have virus at the first time. On Wish, I wish that someone from celebrities will become face and voice for hepatitis disease and will bring more awareness like Major Johnson did for HIV. When I was going through my treatment, every day I listened Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now, and it helped me a lot to go through my depressing times. Eckhart Tolle, together with Oprah, put a very interesting spiritual webcast which helping millions of people around the globe. I wish one day, together, we can make a special program for people affected by hepatitis who are going through their depressing times. So, Donald, what is your signature?
My signature for gratitude, I too like to thank my family, my children, my friends that were suffering from hepatitis C at the same time I was, who were on treatment, and how we supported one another. I have a lot of gratitude for my doctor and everyone in his office because they were so supportive and they were always there when I needed them. For forgiveness, I too want to forgive myself because of the actions that I did, the way the type of life I lived that caused me to be infected with hepatitis C. And for a wish, my wish is that people in the age group that I am, the people who were born between 1945 and 1965, that everyone would get tested for hepatitis C at least one time. And that if they are infected with hepatitis C, would be to at least try the treatment.
Thank you, Donald. Tony, what would be your signature?
My signature, I'm thankful for just being alive. I thank God for letting me get up every day. Thankful to the team at Mount Sinai, Paula, all the transplant team. I'm thankful to my family, thankful to my donor. May God bless and may you rest in peace. I'm also thankful for the people at the New York Organ Donor Network, especially Karen, Jennifer, and Stefan. Paula, what you do matters. Thank you. For forgiveness, I forgive myself for not going to get tested when they first told me to go take a blood test. And for my wish, I just hope that everybody just go get tested and so you won't have to deal with this disease the way I have to deal with it.
Thank you, Tony. Well, this is our show. We hope that we got your attention to that disease called silent killer, hepatitis C, which is responsible for taking thousands of lives in the United States alone. Early detection of hepatitis increases your chances to get cured and be well. So please consider taking a blood test. If some of you would like to participate in our show, tell your story or someone else's story in that matter, give comments or suggestions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Until next time, I'm your host and program producer, Greg Roman, wishing you be well and healthy. Thank you for watching.